Good evening, good evening. Welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and this message, it comes from a translation of a message that I received. The narration of that message reads like this. How are you, my brother? Can you please post my own story and do not share my voice note with anyone? Please post for me as anonymous. So, my brother, I am someone who is currently working in the construction company. In the construction industry that I am in, I have a very small construction company, and usually we just go around building your small houses in the villages. Now that I am back home in my home country, that is the work that I am doing. But all of this work, I learned it when I was still there in South Africa. That is when I learned how to become a builder, as well as making some cement bricks. This was after I had been fired because I used to work as a security guard. I then started working for this other elderly woman who was staying in that village. We used to call her Magogo. She had some fields whereby I would go and assist her when she would be cultivating her plants. She would pay me whenever she would receive a grant money, but the money was never enough. It was just enough for me to buy some mealie meal and some cooking oil. She then said that when you are not busy at my house, why don't you go around trying to find some piece job? I then said that here in the village, what kind of piece job can I get? She then suggested that a lot of people in that village, they were building their houses. So if I try to venture into brick making, then I would make some money. At that time, it was only a few people that was doing this. Then, my brother, I went to this other guy who was from Zim, who had a welding machine. He then made that machine that you can use for making bricks. So when I started making those bricks, I used to go around alone making those bricks. Then I started going with my wife. When our company grew, I then hired some boys that were working for me. Then usually in a day we could make about 100 bags of cement. That is what we used to use when we would be making those cement bricks. This was like done on a daily basis, and we were able to survive. I was even able to buy some cattle. I bought this was back home with the money that I was earning. With time, brother Nashi, in each and every village and each and every location that I would get into, my boys, they were making really good bricks, and I was getting new customers. It then happened that after years, when I was doing this, then me and my wife, we then thought of renovating the house that had been left behind by my parents, because it was an old styled village house, so we had to bring it down and rebuild again. My wife then suggested that it was far much better for her to go back home, since she knew how to make those cement bricks. All that I had to do was to find some boys, then she can control them and teach them how to make those cement bricks. She returned back home, and I was left alone for a very long time. And I was in need of a woman, but I was just controlling myself. I then found another job. This job that I found, it was in another village, but the village, it was very close to town. It was more like a location more than a village. When I was in that village with my boys working, then there was this other woman who was like working next door to the place where we were having our small contract. She was quite a very friendly woman. I then started being friends with her. We exchanged numbers. After we had finished making those bricks, we then returned back to the village where I was staying, and I continued speaking with her here and there. Each and every time that I would call her, she would suggest that I should send her some money. So she wanted to build a 5-roomed house, and it had bathrooms as well, everything. And you can just imagine how many cement bricks that we were supposed to make, me and my boys. So we did the work, brother Nashi, and we did the work. I tried by all means to be as professional as I could. Me and my boys, we were sleeping in this other shack where she had showed us. So I did this because I wanted this woman to give me money, and not for her to joke around with the money, since I had to pay my workers as well. So I then placed my pleasure aside, then I just wanted to be a professional. We worked, Brother Nashi, whilst we were staying at her place. She had said that she wanted to give me all the money after we had completed the projects of making the cement bricks for her. After we had finished making those cement bricks for her, then the day that she was supposed to give us the money, she said that I had to wait for her since she was supposed to go to town to get the money. I then gave my boys at least some of their money because I had some money already in my account. So I did some e-wallets for them, and I told them that once they are in town, that is when they would collect the money. I only managed to give them half of their pay, and I told them that as for me, I was going to wait for that woman to give us the money, and later on I was going to meet up with them in that location where we were staying. These guys, they didn't know that I had once dated this woman that we had worked for. We were only like dating on the phone, and we had never like slept together. It was just dating on the phone. I waited for her because she had gone to town to collect this money like in the morning. And when I sent my boys away, it was around 3 p.m. and I saw that she was not yet coming. I waited, 5, 6, 7 p.m. That was when she called me, and she told me that she was still in town at the taxi rank, and she was scared that maybe she would end up getting robbed. So I thought that maybe she had the money, and she had given me a number of this other guy who had a car, and she said that if I contact that guy, he was going to come and pick her up, but she told me that it was much wiser that I come with the guy. So I went and I spoke with the guy, and I gave him money. It was a lot of money because this was car hiring that I was doing at night. He charged me, and when she did this, it was on a Saturday. So the next day, after she had explained her situation to me, I saw that I'll end up again sleeping at her house because she had to go back to the bank to fix her bank card, meaning that this thing of me getting my money, it was only going to happen on Monday. I said it is fine. I had just a little bit of money on me. That was the money that I had used to hire that car so that I can go and collect her in town. She returned back to her place, and then whilst we were at her place, Brother Nashi, she then cooked some food. So I was just sitting outside. Then she invited me inside, and she said that she had placed our food that we were supposed to eat inside her bedroom. And like a fool, I followed her, Brother Nashi. And when I entered into her bedroom, she then climbed on top of her bed. She was lying on her bed whilst I was eating, and we were just talking. She was just asking me a lot of nonsense questions about her love life. She kept on asking me what she was supposed to do. In the meantime, she was rolling over in the bed, and as a man, when a woman does that, I started concentrating on her body, and she knew that she had me where she wanted. And she then removed the blanket and said that it was too hot, and I saw that she was only wearing a very thin night dress, a short one as well. And she said that she was feeling sleepy, but as she was falling asleep, I saw that she was pulling her night dress so that her night dress can reveal a lot about her body, and I could not resist her. Like a fool, I also jumped into bed, and I totally forgot about the money. She slept with me. The next morning, we were now like husband and wife. I ended up staying with this woman for the whole month, and she kept on saying that she would go to town and get the money, but she never gave me that money. So I had another contract in another village of making bricks, and she promised me that she was going to send that money directly into my account. Then I went and she never sent me that money. I got angry at her because she had made me look like a fool, and I had already borrowed money from this other guy who was my chonisa, and now the money that I was supposed to return back to that guy, it was full of interest. So I was owing that guy. I returned back to that lady that I had dated. She then said that I can't give you this money, I'll give you on such and such a date. The next time around, I returned back, and she was like, but why are you demanding this money from me? Because you slept with me throughout the night and you never used any protection at all. So how much do you want to pay me for what you did to me? What if I could have fallen pregnant for you? I was going to take care of that baby from 1 month until the baby will be 18 years. So how much are you going to pay me for the risk that you made me to take. I said, what risk are you talking about? Because you are not even pregnant. That woman, Brother Nashi, she was not even in a mood to understand anything. She then asked me how much she wanted me to pay her for the night that we slept together. So thinking that at least the women out there, those ones that sell their bodies, they were charging at least 50 rand or so. I then said, how about I give you 500 from the money that you owe me? She then said that, so you think that my cookie is only worth 500? No, it's worth more than that. Then we started insulting each other and she chased me out of her house. She then said that if I continue coming back, she was going to tell people that I had raped her. Brother Nashi, this was really painful because we had made so much bricks at her place and now she had used me. So what I did the next time around, when I went back to her place demanding from my money, I told her that I just wanted to see her, to ask her for her forgiveness, and I wanted her back. So she agreed to meet me. I went to this other market where I bought this wooden statue of a small monkey. I bought it from those guys that usually make those paintings, and they sell these paintings by the side of the road. I bought that small statue of a monkey and I placed it inside a plastic bag. I then put some charms on it so as to make it look like it was a Tokoloshe. I then went to her village and I told her that I was waiting for her by her gate. When she came out, she asked me what I was having in my plastic and I showed her that fake Tokoloshe. And I said, since you do not want to give me the money that you owe me, so I am going to give you this small boy, and I am going to leave this small boy that is in form of this monkey, and I am going to tell it that you are the one that is going to give it the money, then it would give me my money back. And I saw that this woman, she was shaking. She said, please do not leave this thing by my house. Please take it. I am going to make a plan. So I then left it. Since she didn't have the money, I wanted her to be very afraid. Then what I didn't know is that this woman, she was already dating another guy who was from Zim, who was a prophet. When I had left her place, she then called that prophet guy. Then the prophet guy came. He then took that fake Tokoloshe and burnt it. Then that woman sent me a message late at night, and then she said that you can do whatever you want and I am not going to give you your money. She insulted me via text messages. I wanted to prove a point to her that she cannot make me a fool like that, and after her making me a fool, she was now dating another guy within a short period of time. I was truly hurt about my money and about her as well. I then returned back home after I had saved some money and after I had made some money. When I returned back home, I then went and I visited this other traditional healer, but this I did in total secret because I was afraid that if my wife was going to find out that this is what I had done, then she was going to ask me a lot of questions and I was not ready to answer any of her questions, and it was a tough situation for me to explain to her. I did everything in secret. I visited that traditional healer. Then that healer told me that there was one item that was needed. It was a personal item that belonged to this woman. I said it was not even possible at all because me and this woman, we were never going to see each other. We were hating each other now. There was no way I could ever get that item. That traditional healer said that it was fair enough. He said, what you are supposed to do is that I want you to buy this other knife. It is called an okapi. This knife, it is a blade whereby you can fold it. I then went and I bought that okapi knife and I left it at that traditional healer's place, and he said that along the way when I am going back home, I was supposed to buy a lady's underwear, which I did. When I bought that lady's underwear, he texted me and he told me what I was supposed to do with that lady's underwear that I had bought at the market. It was quite embarrassing because he had said that for the whole week, each and every day, I was supposed to wear this lady's underwear without ever removing it. I would only remove it when I'll be bathing, and when I'll be bathing, there was another ritual as well that I was supposed to perform whereby I'll be pleasing myself. Then after producing my semen on that lady's underwear. Then I had to wipe myself, and I was not supposed to wash it. I did this throughout the week. For my wife not to find out that I was going around wearing a lady's underwear, what I did is that I made sure that in our home there was no peace. I was always moody. When I would go to bed, I will be wearing something so that my wife would not see that I was wearing those ladies' undergarments, the ones that have the laces. I wore that one throughout the week. When I did this, I then returned back to that traditional healer. I showed him that smelly ladies' underwear, and he told me to go into another structure which he used at his compound as his bathroom. I went there and I removed that underwear, and I went back. It was really smelly. Then went into the bushes, and he made me to kneel down in front of this other place whereby the termites were still building their ant hill. And he said that I was supposed to mention the name of that lady that had refused to give me my money. I didn't know her surname, but he then said that her name is fine. So I kept on mentioning her name. And when I was bathing, like when I was doing that ritual, he had told me that his ancestor's spirit, the only way that they could connect with that lady's spirit was by me like concentrating on her whilst I will be pleasing myself. That is what I had done for 7 days. When I will be in the bath, like taking a bath, whilst I will be pleasing myself, I will be mentioning her name as if I was making love to her, so that there can be a spiritual connection. Now that I was kneeling in front of an anthill, I kept on mentioning her name and all that I wanted from her. I kept on saying that, name hidden, I want my money. Name hidden, I want my money right now. I then returned back home. This was after I had stabbed that underwear that I had worn for 7 days with that okapi knife, and we left it there in the bushes. I returned back to South Africa, and the moment that she called me and saw that my phone number was no longer going to voicemail, she told me that she wanted to give me my money, but there was the only problem that she had was that the money that she had, it was not enough, and she was witnessing some spiritual stuff that she had never witnessed in her life. I then went to her place and she gave me the money, but she didn't give me the money that was enough, and she begged me on that day to release whatever charm that I had placed on her. I promised her that I was going to speak with the man who had assisted me. I spoke with that traditional healer, and he said that he was going to release the charms. I waited for days, and then, Brother Nashi, I had the sad news that this lady, she had passed away. I then confronted that traditional healer and I said, what did you do to her? I just heard that she has passed away. Then that traditional healer started insulting me, and he was like, is it me that came looking for you at your compound, or was it you that came looking for me? Because as far as I remember, I never came to your doorstep looking for you or asking for your help. Unfortunately, the lady passed away. When I returned back home, I tried, Brother Nashi, by all means to negotiate with that traditional healer. This was after I had started experiencing some terrible dreams, and these dreams, they keep on coming back to me. There was even a time when there was a conference at our church. When I went to church, I spoke with one of the prophets. Those were like your red garment prophets. They do not ask you a lot of questions. It is about how much you have. I was given some herbs. These herbs that were given to me, they were mixed with holy water, and I was supposed to go and bath myself in the middle of the night. And whilst I was at the graveyard, as I was bathing, they said that I will be confusing the spirit of that South African woman who had died as a result of the charms that I had used on her. I went to the graveyard. After finishing bathing, Brother Nashi, that was when I saw a flame. This flame, I don't even know where it came from. It just appeared out of nowhere. It was burning on top of one of the graves. Then the fire just died down. I returned back to that prophet, and he said that this meant that this spirit will never be able to find me again. And when this happened, this was in 2016. Many years later, recently I was coming from this other place, so I had to cross a river in this village where we are currently working. We are building this other shop. So I wanted to travel to this other shop, and for me to get to that shop, I had to walk for about 45 minutes. So for you to get there, you travel through this other forest, then you cross this small river. When I was returning back from that shop, it was about to get dark. When I was about to cross that small river, I then saw that South African woman. She was standing on the other side of the river, and she had a bundle of firewood on her head. She was looking for a safe spot to cross that small river. And as I looked at her again, the next thing that happened, I then saw that it was no longer that South African woman who had passed away there in South Africa, but it was another woman who was from the same village. She was the one that was carrying that bundle of firewood. She was actually crossing that small river. As she was passing through the place where I was standing, because I was really scared, she was even shocked at the way that I was looking at her. She greeted me, and it was like there was someone that was holding my jaws. I could not greet her back because I was trembling with fear. Even up until today, I am still struggling with everything that I saw on that day. I have come here on your platform. I am looking for anyone who can give me assistance so that this spirit, at least for once, this spirit can stop following me. There is someone who promised me help, but he is requesting that I give him 6 cows. As for now, I do not have that number of cattle that he wants from me. If there is anyone who can assist me, then I can pay afterwards. It will be fine with me. Dear listeners, right there was a message that I received, and I received it as a WhatsApp voice note. Then we had to give you this translation.